Tribe, welcome to Howling After Dark. Ugh, this is your friend Ghost K. We're doing something a little bit different for those listening tonight. Usually we just do radio, but today I'm broadcasting live video on YouTube. So for those that have not heard or seen me before, I will give you a little background on myself. I'm the leader and founder of the ghost hunting group, Ghost Wolf Paranormal. I've been a paranormal investigator for 30 years, and I'm what you would call clairvoyant, I guess. Um, I had a near-death experience when I was very young, and as a result, um, I see spirits. I have since I was 5 years old, which means I'm the guy you want to have a camera, because if there's something to catch, I'm going to catch it. I have a chatter asking me what am I howling about? That's actually a really good question. Um, all things paranormal at the moment. Kind of gonna do maybe some paranormal news or something, or maybe you can come up with a topic. I'm open to suggestions all the time. But there you have it. So at the moment, paranormal news. Facts. I'm going to attempt to do something little type stuff in. See what comes up. All right, I'm loading this one. Looking for a good story. Ooh, okay. Here's one that I actually have possibly some insight. The headline says parasitic astral entities plague us. And this is from yesterday, November 17th. And I'm going to read you the article, and then, or at least a bit of the article, and then I'm going to get into my insight of this. It says, while we wander through life, we open different doorways to our destiny. It's our choices that define us and who we are as people. Learning about the unknown can be often scary since we don't know what to expect next. Quite often, people mock and laugh at things because they do not see, taste, or touch them. It is natural because humans by nature question everything around them. It happens the moment we are born into this world. Surround ourselves with people who are there to support and comfort us. It will likely lead to our successes in life. They are a shoulder to cry on or someone to laugh with. Emotional issues that seem to haunt people throughout their life may well be something beyond what we can see with our very own eyes. We live life by what we stand for and often lead with our heavy hearts. People are passionate whether they realize it or not. This can sometimes lead them into trouble or sometimes salvation. There are different energies around us that can interfere with our emotions. These non physical energies are around people each and every day. Okay. So, what this article is basically leading up to is something I've seen um, and had quite a bit of experience with. Um, as I mentioned before, I've seen spirits basically most of my life, and that is not limited to what we would commonly refer to as ghosts. Um, and before anyone asks, yes, I have seen demons, and no, I don't wish that on anyone. Okay, they say I'm breaking up. Can you hear me? Hope so. And yes, to answer that question, I have heard of sleep paralysis. There's a couple different theories I'll get into in a little bit about that, but let me continue what I'm talking about before I get into that. That'll actually be my very next topic. Um, so, anyways, this at least the entity that comes to mind with this topic. Um, there may be other names for it. I call them shades. Um, let me try something. They say I'm staticky. Turn it down just a little, mic down just a little bit. Does that help? Fold this in a little bit. Okay. Well, anyhow, what shades are, um, they're these entities that kind of attach to people. And from what I've seen, experienced, everything, basically what they do is they can cause negative things to happen because what they feed off of is your negative emotion. Um, n- Not quite shadow people. It's a little bit different because what you're referring to, shadow people, a lot of the time, these shadows most of the time are the same thing as an apparition. It's just a different method of manifesting. Uh, but they do kind of appear like that. I call them shades. Basically, a somewhat humanoid looking shadow that kind of the way I see it, it kind of like it's like a black, somewhat human shaped mist with red glowing eyes that kind of wraps itself around people and literally feeds off their negative emotions. They can actually cause negative things to happen in your life so that they have more to feed off of. Um, some people may or may not know this. My new listeners won't. In addition to all this that I've already said, I'm also I'm Blackfoot Cherokee on my mom's side. I'm a like a 16th Navajo on my dad's side, and I'm a practicing medicine man. As a result, I have done nearly 500 house cleansings to date, and in a 30-year career, I've had one situation where I actually had to return to the home, um, and only one. So that's a pretty excellent record if you're doing the math. So I have had to deal with these things and kind of get rid of them for people before. Um, I may or may not be the only person that sees them. If there is somebody else, I've never met them. Although I would love to meet somebody else that's seen them, or maybe seen them and didn't realize what it was. Simply so I don't feel like I'm alone. You know what I mean? Or that I'm crazy. I know I'm not crazy, but at least not in that way. um, okay, so shades aren't demons exactly. At least not as far as I can tell. Demons are a much different thing. They are very negative, though. Um, well, before I'm responding to this person in my chat right now. Who what was that first topic? Let's see. You have a lot of great ideas. Um, what was the first thing that you said? Because for some reason, well, let me scroll up. Oh, there we go. Oh, sleep paralysis. Okay, so there's a couple different theories about sleep paralysis. One it has it that it's actually not spiritual at all. That what you're actually experiencing is a trick of your mind, and you can't move because you're kind of trapped in the moment before you're fully awake. It's basically what they're alluding to. However, I got to say I'm not too sure about that, because I happen to know that certain spirits can actually cause you to have the same thing. Um, but that would be something I would have to really dig into to tell you any more about. Okay, the next thing you're talking about is incubus and succubus. Now, incubus and succubus are actually the same thing. Uh, one is male, one is female, and actually, what they do, according to legend, is they basically have sex with you in your sleep to rob you of your essence, if you will. And I don't know. That whole thing has never quite made sense to me. Um, and it actually comes from Greek lore. Uh, Yes, I know. Going back to sleep paralysis, do you mind if I say your name on the air? I know some people can be like worried about that, but she says sleep paralysis has a few different symptoms. One is astral projection, leaving your physical to roam the earth plane. When you leave your body, your consciousness is still there, but you can't move. Okay. And her name is Rachel, she says. Um, yes, yes, and that kind of goes into a different theory, actually, where um, where you're kind of like in between astral projection and returning to your body. Because oftentimes when people are experience sleep paralysis, they'll see kind of like a shadow person. My theory is that the shadow person you're actually seeing is, in fact, you. Oh, interesting. She says her sleep paralysis is like that, but she is still in her body and she gets approached by shadow energy. Let me ask you: do you feel when that happens? You feel like you're being threatened? Oh, I see. They come to speak or help to pass through. Okay. So not necessarily threaten them. That's good. Okay, but not all the time. Okay. Well, the reason I ask is because if you like if that happens to you a lot and you always feel threatened, that could actually be a sign of would be referred to as demonic oppression. Um, because demons will sometimes do that so that you can't get any rest, you can't sleep, and when you can't get sleep, your mind weakens, which makes you more vulnerable, et cetera, et cetera. They can be. Um, I will tell you that like I see them, like really see them, like I can see them clearly as I could a person if they were in the same room, like a living person. The only difference is a living person I can't see through them. Uh, I, I, I guess probably it, by way of description of what I mean when I say I see them. Uh, if you've ever seen the movie Frighteners, how the ghosts follow him around, kind of appear like you can see their details, but you can also see through them. It's kind of something like that. Yeah, and they're insanely ugly, by the way. Um, referring to demons, because she says no, demons are different. Yeah. So, and I totally get. See, the thing a lot of people don't understand about the paranormal is, like in a 30-year career, I can probably count on one hand the amount of times I've actually come across a demon. Now, that's not to count like other types of negative entities, because there are things out there that are dark and negative that aren't demonic. And most of those were either have never been alive in a way that we would recognize it, or um, are spirits of people that died that are so angry that it actually twisted them, if you will, into something else. And the fact of the matter is uh, demons, while very, very negative, don't really pussyfoot around. Like, they're pretty much immediately going to do something to get what they want. Um, Usually, like oppression or possession. Um, she says, I usually don't deal with malevolent things. Neither do I, to be honest with you, because I don't look for it. And when I do come across them, they really don't like me, because I was taught very early on how to um, not only defend myself against them, but how to hurt them. Um, and that's a topic for another show. Yeah, she says you have to back down to let them in, and she's right. You have to be very weak willed for them to get in. First off, um, and the thing about that is, uh, well, yeah, you're right. She says if they frighten you, they're then you're giving room for them to come in, which is absolutely true, and that's kind of what I've said for a long time. I have zero fear. I'm not afraid of anything, really, which some people would call insane, but actually it just makes you stronger if you're not afraid, because fear is what they feed off of. Shouldn't it be? Now that's let me explain though. There's a big difference between being stupid and being brave. Okay, being brave is conquering your fear and using it as a weapon. Being stupid, that's almost a challenge for them. Um, yes, those are good. She's talking about using salt, iron, and rose or white quartz as defenses against the negative. You know what else works really well? There's a stone called blue apatite. That's Apatite. Um, it's really good for that. That's actually what it's traditionally used for, is to keep people's spirits away. Now, I'm kind of going to get into something else here, um, because not on the air or anything, but like I was having a conversation with somebody out in like real life, and they asked me a question that I kind of had to put a lot of thought into. They asked me if I think that what we think of as aliens, like grays, what have you, um, if they are in fact spirits, possibly demons that are mimicking other things. And I thought about it a long time because the thing is I don't want to make like any kind of blanket statements about this stuff. I really want to give it some thought, and I did. I've thought about it for about a week. So here's my answer: no, they're not. Um, Now that's not to say that something like a demon or another kind of negative spirit is capable of doing that. But here's my question to follow that initial question: why would they? Why would they bother? They don't need to play those kind of mind games with you, number one. And number two, if they wanted to scare you, they would just show you their true selves and not, mess around about it at all. Because, like the old saying goes, the truth is far more terrifying than anything that they could make up. Now, do I believe in aliens? Yeah, yeah, I do. Have I had any experiences with them? Not yet. That's not to say it'll never happen, but it hasn't happened yet. But let me explain to you why I believe in them. I believe in them for a very logical reason: mathematics, probabilities. As vast as the universe is, to think that we are alone in it, incredibly fucking arrogant. Seriously. I mean, think about that for a second. We're saying, and by we, I mean most people out there, most people are and I'm talking about the more closed minded types, are saying that we're alone in the universe, that there's no possibility that there's any other sentient living creature out there anywhere. That's what they think. But to think that is the height of human arrogance because you're basically denying the mathematical probability that in something as vast as the universe, that there is no other planet that can sustain any kind of life. And yes, I actually agree with you. I think they are here already to some degree. Now, here's the thing. I think there are different types. I don't know if I necessarily buy the whole gray reptilian whatever stuff, but I do believe there probably are different types because our galaxy alone is too big for us to be the only sentient beings in it. Not to mention I mean, okay, our solar system is only a drop in the ocean that is the universe. Yeah, and that's a good question too. She says, "What would be the point of a universe if we're the only ones in it?" Right? Well, it would be. I mean, that. That's kind of like moving into a mansion, like this huge, vast, like Buckingham Palace. It would be like moving into Buckingham Palace with all its rooms in every section of that place, and yet only living in the living room. The living room, only place in that whole place with people in it. That's insane. Well, why have all that space if you're not going to use it? I, anyways, moving on. Yeah, I'm actually not. Uh, I'm not a fan of evolution. She says, "Well, evolution has proved there is more than one species." And yes, you're right. Um, however, um, I don't really believe in quote unquote evolution, at least not in the way that it's been laid for. Like, I don't necessarily believe that we were evolved from apes. I don't think it was apes, first off. Um, that's just me, my personal opinion. Um, I don't think that it took as long as maybe we've been led to believe. She says, so if you live on a planet with only red planets, your skin pigmentation would go red. Actually, I'm Native American, so my skin pigmentation is pretty red anyways. But I'm also part white, so it's only when I can, you know. Oh, well, there's another topic because I have a theory about that one too. She says I'm not evolved from Bigfoot, LMAO. I kind of want to get into Bigfoot, to be honest with you, because I have my own theory about Bigfoot. Yes, I am Native American. Well, at least part. Okay, so I'll explain this. Uh, I'm actually a tiny little bit more Native American than I ever thought before, um, because my mom. No, I don't, um, and I'll get to that. She asked, "Do I live on a reservation?" No, actually, I live in Akron, Ohio. Uh, okay, so my mom. is Blackfoot and Cherokee. Um, I always thought my dad was just white, just white. That's it. Um, but I never met him. Lived my entire life, and I didn't know him. And in 2015, I met his side of the family for the first time, and I found out that on his side of the family, I am roughly a 16th Navajo, Gypsy, Cajun, Irish, and Scottish. Yeah, yeah. Well, I wouldn't exactly call them cryptids, not in the way you're thinking of. They're more like spirits. Because she says you gave us some famous cryptids, Thunderbirds, Wendigo, exactly. Um, but what I think Bigfoot is, and this is just my theory, I think Bigfoot is actually an elemental spirit. I think that's why it can leave behind physical um, evidence, like footprints, and then just poof, be gone. My personal theory, not asking anybody to believe it, but whatever. Um, Thunderbirds and Wendigo, well, Wendigo for sure I know are very much more spiritual than they are physical, because I have had experiences with them. They're a lot like uh, skinwalkers in a way. Kind of protectors of the forest, but not quite what I would call gods. They would be closer to like how the Norse or the Greeks would refer to as a demigod. I guess would be kind of close. And no, they're not. She says Wendigo are demons. And no, they're not. They're they can be about that savage though. Um, they're actually nature spirits that punish people that violate their domain. Okay, I'm going to give a 4 minute warning here because I have about 4 minutes left in this session. What I mean by that, for those that haven't heard me before, is I get 45 minutes of recording time, and then I've got to stop and then start all over again. So there will be a part two. So when it disconnects, don't freak out. We will be back. No, what you're referring to is something else entirely. Um, that that is a what's the term I'm looking for? A misnomer. Um, that's actually kind of okay. I have a totally different theory. I don't have enough time left in this section to get into, but I will get into it in part two about what you're referring to. It is not Wendigo. It's not even Native American, actually. No, trust me. When I get into this, you're gonna go, huh? That actually kind of makes sense. Oh no, my mom will be the first to tell you. Anyways, so just about 2 minutes left now. Hmm. She's talking to me, and I'm responding. Um, we're having a disagreement about the whole Wendigo thing, but a friendly disagreement. She says I can respect your theory, and I appreciate that. But let let me get into it in part two, seriously, because I don't have enough time. Um, but I think I may sway you to my side, or at least get you thinking about it. Give me like not even going to be like that long. It's going to be a couple minutes in between at most. So I mean, I'll basically be right back. 30-second warning. All right, I'm going to go ahead and end this session, and I will be right back with part two. Hello, my pack, my tribe. We're back. Part two. 1 second. Trying to find my listener. Sorry about that. Figure out how to do this. Okay, well, figure out how to message through this. So I'm gonna have to do it another way. Okay, so I don't know how to get this person back. Um, so get talking about before the break. Um, Wendigo is actually, in my opinion, my theory. Uh, I think a lot of the darker, more aggressive stuff, like the whole cannibalism thing, that gets attributed to the go is actually something else. Um, I think Wendigo or something completely different than that. It's kind of like the chupacabra, that kind of not to say that actual Wendigo are all rainbows and puppy dogs, but I, I don't think that a whole lot of what we attribute to them is actually them. Is what I'm getting at, and here's my theory on that. Uh, the first recorded, and let me stress this, recorded accounts of Wendigo took place in Oregon and Northern California after the Donner Party tragedy, which I don't know if you're familiar with that. And what I'm talking about is recorded by people to newspapers, et cetera, which is where I think a lot of the misconception comes from. Now, here's where I'm going with this whole tie into the Donner Party, and I can never remember that dude's name. He was actually a cannibalistic serial killer in the 1800s that got arrested, and I think he was hung actually. Um, Roughly about the same time, 1800s, same era. Um, in any case, so here's the Donner Party, and we know that cannibalism was very much thriving there because it kind of had to be. They would have all starved to death. There would have been no survivors at all. As it was, there wasn't many, but I think that created kind of a perfect spiritual storm, if you will, that kind of created this separate entity that is kind of piggybacked on Wendigo. Um, Once again, not saying Wendigo are all rainbows and puppy dogs because they're not. But all I'm saying is I think a lot of what we attribute to them isn't actually them, and it's actually something else. Um, that's my theory. Okay, well, moving on, I guess. Um, so anyhow, I want to get into. Um, I have so many thoughts in my head all the time that sometimes I can get a little bit lost. Um, so that's why, like a lot of time, I'll look up art or videos or whatever. Uh, you know, subjects that are already there. Uh, give my opinion. Here's an article about ghost hunting theories. It's from September here. Uh, it's theories haunted Shirley message from the grave. Uh, I was preparing to leave 66 trek with my best friend when she messaged me that an accident caused a huge dent. Once I knew she murdered, once I knew she was gay, I wondered how in the world the day before we were taking off this happened. Luckily, the insurance company gave us a rental jeep. We were leaving, that is, until we were in Arizona. In my prior post, I mentioned a strange face that appeared to be peering out of Shirley's eye pupil. It looked like my deceased ghost hunting friend Well, he had a message for me. We went to the gas station. It clicked off, and she realized she hadn't used her card. An elderly Native American lady uh, came up to her and told her inside to use her only $6 son to move the car around to another pub. While she was on the road till we could go purchase things we needed. While she was inside, I was in the Jeep. I pulled up Facebook to see who was messaging me. I just have a few hundred messages on there. This time the screen was more active, followed by one who died in January, whose image appeared to be in haunted Shirley's. Listed November 2nd, 2016. I blinked, my hand shook, I gasped out loud. Paul, I asked. I looked anxiously to the store door, hoping you'll take a picture of the screen. But the cell phone screen darkened, and I tapped on it to bring it back, and it now lists all the hundreds of messengers normally did. Was Paul along on the trip with us, protecting us from further haunted Shirley tampering? I can't for sure, but I got the distinct impression that my friend, who dealt all his life with haunted, was considering himself a bodyguard. If that wasn't odd enough, our first night on the trek, we stayed in a haunted hotel. Guest flip photo was on the wall beside our room. What they're referring to haunted Shirley is a Shirley Temple doll. So that dolls. A lot of people don't know that. They think that all these haunted dolls, like you've seen on TV, like Robert the doll, which is possession of is haunted museum, or Annabelle from the Conjuring movies. They think that this is a new thing, like relatively speaking, that it's only like this century or the last century that apparently this has been happening. It's, this goes way back. Dolls originally weren't meant as toys for children. Way, 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 way back in the day, ancient Egypt and pre-Columbian dolls were created to house the spirits of the dead. That was their purpose. That's why they're hollow. So things like a Shirley Temple doll, which I wish I could get my hands on a Shirley Temple doll. I'd probably be a gazillionaire because they're rare. I don't even know how many would be even in existence, but Shirley Temple, who was an actress back in the day, kind of like the original little girl, and I mean that's got to be worth like a mint buyer now. Got to be hundreds of thousands of dollars at least. Um, but it's not entirely surprising that that doll or any other doll for that matter would be on it. I don't even like the idea of giving kids like Barbies or GI Joes uh, for that reason. Um, I mean, I would do it because she wants to break a little kid's heart, for Christmas, but I wouldn't necessarily like it. Is my point. So, in the story, like that story is actually part of a series. Let's see, going to one called Paranormal Daily News. See if this is any good. Ooh, what? I just saw this headline. If I can actually get to it. I don't know when this is about or how old this story is. 12th of this month. Uh, it says Titanic captain's haunted mirror in England. The Titanic tragic tale that has been told numerous times. Books have been written on the subject, and even films have been made. Or the film never seems to be forgotten. Uh, while the movie Titanic was made big movie, the actual captain was a British man from Staffordshire. Edward John Smith went down with his ship on 1812, shortly after it was hit by an iceberg. Now a silver-framed mirror rumored to be haunted from the Titanic is going on auction in Staffordshire, England. The haunted mirror being auctioned in Staffordshire is expected to haul in a whopping £1,000 or more, translates into American dollars, but I imagine quite a few. However, you have to be willing to take on a ghostly presence that is rumored the captain's face on the anniversary of the Titanic's demise. After the passing of Captain Edward John Smith, his housekeeper could choose items to keep. She chose the mirror and claimed its face on the fated day no more. With the mirror, there's also a note written by Hilda, the sister-in-law of the housekeeper Ethelwyn. In it, she wrote the following. It said that at times she could still see Captain Smith's face in it. Prize at the haunted mirror is of some interest to investigators. Ding, ding, ding. Of course, it is also of historic significance, so the price could go quite high. For auction participants can also expect a collection of jewelry, gemstones, furniture, and antique silver. Of course, not haunted. Have a haunted story like this one. I mean, could you imagine? But as haunted mirrors go, I gotta say, as cool as that is, in his haunted museum has the one that I was always really. He has mirror ghost. For those uh, that aren't up on your Hollywood history or don't have an appreciation for old movies, Bela Lugosi was the Dracula. He like the old timey like monster movies, Dracula and Frankenstein and all that. He was a huge part of that whole movement of Hollywood. Um, and he was an occultist to boot. He was actually a big, what was known at the time as movement, which contained a lot of other key historical figures, including Conan Doyle, the author of the Sherlock Holmes books. Um, he was a world-renowned spiritualist and a good friend of none other than me. Um, so it's just kind of interesting. His I think he's mostly British. Uh, oh, well, I here's one I have to read. Um, as I said in the previous broadcast, I am a practicing medicine man, and one of the things that I do is what's called smudging. Um, what that is it is a ceremony that dates back 1,000 years. Where we essentially use sage like incense and use the sage smoke to cleanse an area. Um, and this headline says the smudging ceremony explained. I want to see if they got it. Anyone with the paranormal, hold on, now it's anyone with keen interest in the paranormal or the spiritual, for that matter, will have encountered the word smudging. Familiar with the smudging ritual, your view of smudging and its meaning for those of you who are not. The word smudging is used to refer to a specific ceremony. Incorrect, right there. Or rather, I should say, they're only half correct. It's always used to cleanse an area like a home, as well as you bless people, and not just people. Our horses were blessed, or they would go out on a hunt or to war. Um, Smudging was actually a very useful project that found a home in all sorts of things. It was a regular occurrence. Um, in some ways, it was even more commonly used in daily life, holy water to a Catholic. But it is kind of so long. So, anyways, commonly used West or Clinton. Low. Oh my! I hate this misconception. It's not low vibrations or low energies. It can be any energy. It can be anything as minuscule as just a simple spirit that that's it has nothing to do with looks and stuck energies, other than the fact that yeah, it can. The truth is it's all about the intention of the user. In a 30-year career, I've done 409 house using six and have only had to do one return visit in 30. And that one return visit, by the way, was because the people in question didn't do what they were told and then got back in to salt all the entrances to the home after I left. Dude. Normally, I would have done that myself, but I just run out of salt. And it's a very particular kind of salt, personally. The purest form, I can get my Mediterranean sea salt. Yeah, I'm not going to continue reading because source was for that story. I don't think they talk to Native. I can almost because I'm not even going to get into that whole thing. That's just kind of upsetting. Sorry, I had to take a drink of my coffee. My mouth was getting a little dry. Anyways, here's another one that says Ed and Lorraine Warren remembered. Um, okay, I'm gonna read a prominent because I have a story to tell. Ed and Lorraine Warren, a two paranormal name, will forever be associated with some of the world's most famous paranormal cases, like the Amityville house. Um, there are even several movies out there of Ed and Lorraine. The people behind the movies are the most famous. While there are so many interesting facts about the pair, one of the most interesting is undoubtedly Ed's background. Before becoming a paranormal investigator, Ed Warren served in the Second World War. He was also a police officer. Later on, he would become an author and lecturer. Uh, why he underwent such a drastic curse, which is still unknown. No, I'll get to that. Lorraine is just as interesting as her husband, identified as a demonologist. Lorraine professed she is a clairvoyant was, and a light trance medium. Her has investigated numerous famous cases inside and outside the United States. At the time of this article, Lorraine is 91 and lives in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Unfortunately, Ed Warren died several years ago. Um, no, I don't fear death, not one iota. I know I'll be going to a beautiful place, a place so spies words, quote unquote, Ed Warren. Their most famous case, the Warrens cases over the years, to give you an accurate overview of their most famous case, looking for the most detailed ones. So if you would like to know more about Ed Waring's work, be sure to read the overview below. Annabelle. One of the most intriguing cases the Warrens have ever worked on. Case also depicted in movies such as The Conjuring and Annabelle. Even though the movies are loosely based on the facts, Annabelle is viewed in the Warrens Occult Museum in Monroe, Connecticut. According to the Warrens, Annabelle Ann doll who was gifted to a student nurse in the 70s. The student nurse and her roommate claimed the doll was possessed by a spirit called Annabelle. While they originally cared for the doll, the pair became scared of the doll's behavior and Moraine. In the end, Annabelle was taken to displayed her in their cult museum. The doll is displayed in its. The visitors were warned not to touch the case or remove the doll. The Perrin family, which I'm not going to get into all. The Perrins are the case that the movie The Conjuring was based on. Another Warren case is the case of the Perrin family originated in Harrisville, Rhode Island. It's claimed the Perrin's home was haunted by an ancient curse property. Their case was made into the movie The Conjuring. Of course, there's the Amityville, which I'm not saying except to say that uh, Ronnie DeFeo Jr. killed his family in that house. Um, in his trial, he claimed he was by demon. Whether there's any truth to that or not, during like interviews he actually gave and court, you know, transcripts, I kind of doubt it. Ukraine were and still are criticized a lot, which is no surprise since most of us have a healthy skepticism. Disagree. When it comes to the occult, however, said it best when he talked about the criticism. So I'll leave you with to mull over. Ed Warren saying this. The name of the game is to expose evil for what it is. Do not be frightened, for God is on our side. The Holy Virgin is on our side. Saint Michael the Archangel is on our side. The martyrs are on our side. The atheists, the devil army. Be proud of what you are and what you're. Hold your head up high and shame the devil.